Oh, Japan, why are you like this?
Man, sometimes I like to just sit and think about the big developers on the PS1. You know, Insomniac, Naughty Dog, Ubisoft, Squaresoft, and Whoopee Camp. You know, Whoopee Camp. You've heard of them, right? Whoopee Camp are the masterminds behind the PS1 classic known as Tombi, Tomba, however you want to pronounce it, whatever you want to call it.
So let's boot it up, and oh, Japan, you are so fucking strange. Why is this boy wearing green pants? He clearly isn't prehistoric times. There's machinery and all sorts in this world. I just hope they have fucking dentists. That rock didn't look so tasty, my dude. But hey, this little pink-haired cave boy is known as Tombi, and as you can see, he's just had his bracelet stolen by anthropomorphic piggies. That's it. That's the whole premise of the game. Find the bracelet and kill the piggies that Tombi so clearly has an issue with. Yahoo indeed, my dude. Yahoo indeed.
I have a lot of history with this game personally. It literally taught me how to read. My parents also both loved it, although more so my mum, whereas with Medieval it was more my dad, I suppose.
I mean, right off the bat you can see why. It oozes charm from every crevice. The music, the visuals, it all pops right off the screen. It's possibly my favourite looking game on the PS1, and definitely my favourite in terms of soundtrack. So, it's time to begin our adventure, and we meet this judgmental prick in a straw hat. Why is my hair pink? None of your fucking business, that's why. He tells us we should head up to the 100-year-old man's house, and that seems like a good plan, seeing as right is the only way we seem to be able to go. But oh, actually, we can go into the background of the level and explore there too. Yes, as you can see, this game is one of the few 2.5D platformers. Not unheard of, but then certainly not common either. The sprite art and character designs popping off of the 3D backgrounds here are so unique, and I know that's becoming our key word today, but I honestly don't think I can describe them in any other way. I've never seen anything like it. It's bright, colourful, distinct, and just damn cute. Holy shit, what is Tombi doing to that frog? The frog ran away? Well, good for him. Nobody deserves to be treated like that. Oh, never mind. Guess you can't escape Tombi for long. This game was rated E with straight up animal molestation in it. ESRB have really tightened up their standards since then. You get to ride a turtle.
Which isn't a sexual euphemism.
And then you give a monkey your banana.
Which is definitely a sexual euphemism.
And he teaches you how to use the animal dash, which takes the slow movement and doubles it, making it not so slow. This is a godsend. As you'll be noticing, these orange words and phrases keep popping up on the screen. These are events, essentially quest lines to follow to beat the game. There are a decent chunk of main story ones, but there's a hell of a lot more side events too, that all branch into different paths and have different other events that have to be cleared in order to access them. Take, for example, one of my favourite questlines in the game, Mizuno the Cute Witch, who wants to make some gold candy, which in itself is needed for a questline later on. In order to do this, she needs some silver powder, and to get the silver powder, we have to go and do the dwarf's prisoner questline, in which we need to help the dwarf detain this prisoner until he's served his time, and then beat him in a race, but in order to do that, we have to break up two dwarves fighting over a vase they broke. Now, this sounds really complicated, but it isn't. Everything is managed effectively in an events log in the pause menu, and the events are clearly split between optional and story events. We get to the 100-year-old wise man and come across our first real roadblock. He wants us to free chicks from the eggs, because the birds who are sat on them are evil or something, huh? I don't get it. Yeah, I suppose a lot of this game is pretty nonsensical. There's also a really neat line about how Tombi stores everything in his stomach. It's absolutely absurd, especially considering the objects he keeps in there. A barrel of wine, mushrooms, a dog. This gives a whole new meaning to the phrase butterflies in your stomach. This is where we actually get the meat of the plot. Well, I'll tell you what, I'll just let you listen to it for yourselves.
This was once a beautiful, peaceful land, until 7 evil pigs came. They suddenly appeared and used their powers to change this land into an ugly world. For some reason, the evil pigs seemed to be collecting gold. I bet your grandpa's bracelet that was stolen by the Tomba pigs was made out of gold too. The 7 evil pigs are hiding somewhere in this world. If you find them, I'm sure you'll be able to find your bracelet as well. Just remember, be very careful.
Simple, fun, effective, and the style of cutscene is really nice too. Kinda like a short cartoon, but mixed with still images. I don't really know how to describe it, but it's certainly, you guessed it, unique. We also get a key for one of 4 chests in the game. Wait, how did you open the chest if the key you needed to open the chest is already in the chest? From here, we can start to move forward to the variety of different stages and areas that we're visiting on our journey to recover the bracelet, each with their own main event to complete before you can pass. The world itself is pretty linear, but there are shortcuts that allow you to backtrack, and you can pick up these items known as charity wings that will instantly warp you to a save point of your choosing. Almost every area of the game has been placed under an evil curse by the evil pigs. In order to break the curse, we need to find the pig bag. Yes, pig bag, you heard that right, pig bag, never forget that, specific to each area. Then locate the evil pig and take it on head to head, but we'll get to that later. The dwarves' forest has been turned from flowers to spores, and some of the dwarves have gotten lost, so we have to help them. But first, we need to learn the language, and of course the only way to do that is with sexual assault. Man, this game just cannot get over jumping on anything that fucking moves. It's like me on a Saturday night. Who'd have thought Tombi would be so relatable? Here's where you begin to find more and more side events, but we'll ignore them for now and press on. Oh, Tombi, what are you doing to that child? Can you not for just 5 fucking minutes? Well, I'm just glad that someone does. After rescuing the dwarves scattered around the area and picking up a stray puppy, we can move on to the Mushroom Forest, which doesn't have a curse, but it does have the best enemy in the game, these jelly monsters. So, combat here is real simple. Jump on things and throw them. You have a melee weapon which is effectively fucking useless, it won't kill anything, but it'll stun and knock back enemies. I suppose this would be good for crowd control, but you're never surrounded, so I'm not sure. I very rarely use these weapons. You can get different weapons too, but they all seem to function identically with the exception of 2, the grapple and the grapple jack. Grapple sticks to ceilings, and the grapple jack does that, but also kills enemies. Because of this, enemies are rarely a threat unless they're near a ledge. The knockback will kill you. Your health is pretty nice, and you're going to lose far more of it to environmental hazards than to some pigs and flowers. But here, the jelly monsters require you to jump on their face, blind them, and then throw them into one another. It's a little more challenging than standard enemies, but hardly difficult. I also love how they cover their faces like scared little girls. The game honestly needs more kinds of enemies like this. The combat is dull and basic, it may as well not be there at all. Here we also come across our 2 status conditions of the game, laughing and crying, which can be caused by ingesting these mushrooms. Hey, the fuck is so funny? When you're laughing or crying, you'll lose the ability to use your weapon, and you'll occasionally burst into a fit of laughter or tears, but you can access certain areas or complete certain events. It also causes the platforms to move up and down, which is neat, but pretty inconsequential.
It's okay, Tombi. I often cry for no reason too.
My issue here is that these elements just simply aren't used enough. Off the top of my head, I can think of 3 doors that require laughing or crying to enter, and a single side event that needs you to be crying. It's a really cool risk and reward mechanic, sacrificing using your melee weapon and being vulnerable while emoting, but gaining access to other areas and items. Why not stick some laughing crying doors in difficult to navigate areas so you really miss the use of the grapple? Further to this, within 20 minutes of discovering these mushrooms, you'll find the mysterious mushroom and the ordinary mushroom, which allows you to swap between conditions on the fly. It's just such a real waste.
Okay, Mother, this one's for you. Just you. Everyone else can skip forward a minute. I can't be bothered picking up the phone and having a 20-minute conversation about how a shower head is put in the wrong way. But this is the quest we were always stuck on when we were kids, and this is how you do it.
Red plus blue equals what? What you're going to do is pick up a crying mushroom, talk to this dwarf to initiate the quest, go to this dwarf and cry at him so he can access the leaf slider. On that, you'll pick up the blue powder. Come over to these 2 flower enemies and use the blue powder on this one, then throw that one at the red one and blammy! You thought it was purple? Sorry, those Dulux swatches you forced me to look at when I nip in for a coffee have lied to you. It's silver! I guess looking at it critically, some of these events aren't exactly intuitive. The solutions can be a random stumble down the path of trial and error, which is never good. Further on we go. Phoenix Mountain, a place that has been turned stormy and windy by the pig's curse. Again, it's cool. You're constantly fighting against the winds and it makes navigating difficult. And these flowers will haunt my fucking nightmares until the day I die. But we need to reach the Phoenix in order to fly off to the jungle for some reason. Should we proceed further, we'll find the lava caves, which are covered in fire and we can't access yet. Riding the Phoenix will drop us in Baker's Village, where all the residents have been turned into mice. Obviously. We do some odd jobs for the rodents and keep progressing further, unlocking more and more areas to explore. Hey, look, this game was doing the whole change perspective thing way before Fez. Why is nobody crying out for a sequel to this game? Oh, that's why. In this haunted mansion area, we meet the 1,000-year-old wise man, who gives us another key for another chest. Heading back to the lava caves will give us the pig bag for that area. Now it's just a case of finding the pig, seeing as we can't progress any further without it. Let's take this lull to spend some time exploring and doing events. And I gotta say, the music in each area I revisit is absolutely fantastic. It really fits the theme of the level. Phoenix Mountain screams harsh environment. Haunted Mansion says, well, Haunted Mansion. And the accordion theme for Baker's Village makes it seem so French and civilized. And considering the theme of the level is wine, well, hey, stereotypes exist for a reason. You may not be able to help with my problems? God, you guys are losers. Okay, we finally found the lava cave evil pig. It's in this laughing door in the Haunted Mansion. Well hidden, but not impossible to find. These are the boss fights, and boy are they average. All you gotta do is jump on the pig and throw it in the bag. Sounds simple enough, but a lot of the pigs have strong attacks that can do 2 or more damage to you. Further to this, the bag is constantly moving or rotating, and the environment itself is pretty dangerous. There's an element of luck to this which I do not like, but it does keep the fight at least mildly interesting, I suppose. After throwing the pig in the bag, we get a shortcut scene where we see the curse being lifted off the area. Really? That's it? Some rain puts the fire out? Ugh, whatever. The reason this particular pig is like this is because it's the first, and you need to do it to progress through the rest of the levels. The others can all have some really drastic effects that will change the environments of the music. Often it'll give you more areas to explore, or simply make the environment easier to traverse. It's pretty neat, honestly. The pigs are all suitably themed around the area that they've cursed. My personal favourite changes have to be the Haunted Mansion of the 100 Flower Forest. The music goes from slightly unsettling to perfectly serene and beautiful, and the visuals get brighter and pop more. It's all super neat. To get to the deep jungle, we first need to traverse the lava caves, the hardest platforming area in the game. You'll need the funky parasol and the grapple if you don't want to die a lot. It's not somewhere you'll ever traverse twice if you can help it. Right, time to ride the Phoenix one more time. Let's get to the jungle. And man, if this isn't my favourite area in the game, the aesthetic, the music, the hazards, it's really hard to get through it. You'll need to time jumps perfectly and jump from these vines to avoid the biting plants. When you die, the jungle tribe will surround you and start jumping about. It scared me a little as a kid, in all honesty. This miner, wants his hat back that Charles stole. So we find Charles, he gives us the hat and tells us that if we get him some banana smoothie, he'll teach us how to swim. I don't think that's how you juice a banana, dude. Unless we're talking about different things. Learning to swim gives us access to new areas and a couple of levels, but for now we need to press forward to the Village of Civilization, which is in the deep jungle area for some reason. Here we need to start the generator for the whole fucking world, and doing so will give us access to areas we couldn't previously get to. Trick Village, which is near the Village of All Beginnings, and the underground maze that's under the 100 Flower Forest. Heading to Trick Village and, oh fuck me with a sea sponge, it's a water level. But hey, we just swim in a straight line and get to the hut of the 10,000-year-old wise man who asked us to collect his math beads. But to do that, we need to learn how to swim underwater. One arbitrary event where we meet a mermaid later.
Yeah, I'm not touching that one.
And we can continue underwater to collect the math beads. Thank God this is the only real underwater section in the game, and it's pretty easy to clear. The controls are slippery and the combat is nigh impossible. I don't even bother and just swim past all the fish, sponging damage when it's necessary. Another old man satisfied, another key for another chest, and we're told to go visit the 1,000,000-year-old man in the underground maze. There's no 100,000-year-old man though, he died of old age. Now that we have the 1,000,000-year-old key and all the pig bags, we can start to mop up the evil pigs scattered around and finish all our events. Freeing places from the pig's curse will sometimes uncover new events to do. For example, the dwarf child we rescued earlier wants to start a flower garden, which we can do now that the forest has bloomed again. And another example is... yeah, I guess this mechanic be used a little better too. Some events need the pig's curse to be cleared before you can finish them though, like the mole guy digging on Phoenix Mountain, or the door you can't access on Phoenix Mountain, or the place you can't reach without clearing the curse on Phoenix Mountain. Wait, I'm noticing a pattern here. There are some events off Phoenix Mountain that require a lifted curse, but this is the big area, and honestly it's such a waste of a greater mechanic. Visiting these areas after beating the pig gives you a very real sense that you're having an impact on your surroundings. It's great, but it's just not fully utilised. The side events begin to ramp up, leading to greater and greater rewards. We even get the dog back that we rescued earlier. He acts as a transport system. We ride on his back and he flies with his ears. It's a nice reward. Some of the other rewards though, the grapple jack is pretty neat, but I forgot to equip it in this playthrough, so... yeah, there isn't a great deal of reward for completing these events. There are power-ups and the like that will give you powers that are cool to mess with for a while, but ultimately useless. Although I would argue that the fun comes from actually completing the events themselves. The orange text saying clear is just so satisfying to me, even after all this time. There's a solid 130 events in the game, and completing them all just feels good. It doesn't need to reward you, the reward is doing and overcoming some of the more difficult events in the game. The difficulty can range here. If you want to just plow through the main story, first of all, you're doing the game a massive disservice, and it's really easy, and won't take you very long. But some events can be difficult to solve, like the previously mentioned Red plus Blue, and some are just challenging to execute, like with the motocross bag thing. I don't know what the fuck this is, seriously, you can glean anything from this game? That being said, last pig is down. Game over, right? Well, no. There's an 8th final evil pig, accessed through this awesome door in the underground maze. But all these statues come off the pedestals and the door closes in our face. Aww. We need 7 friends to reopen the door. That's 7 more friends than I have in real life. How am I going to do this? We have to revisit each area that we've already been to and ask the characters that we've helped to help us. 3 of them are in the Village of Civilization. It's another wasted opportunity, but if you've not done the side quests, I suppose it makes sense that you find most of them here. Now it's time for the final boss. Our 7th friend is Baron, and he jumps in after us. He's such a good boy. Why wouldn't the old man stand on a pedestal? That's like step too much for you, you senile fuck. Hell yeah, the final boss. It's identical to the others, except it's absolutely infuriating because he doesn't attack you, just freezes you in place. So it takes a lot longer than it should. It's a real letdown, even by this game's standards. But once we've got Piggy Prick in a bag, Baron comes to our rescue as the island begins to fall apart and we escape. Game over. The real evil pig has been captured. Aww, this is cute. All the wise old men of time say goodbye and Tombi leaves to go home. In an adorable cutscene, we wave goodbye to Charles and Baron flies down to give us one final goodbye kiss. He flies away and Tombi goes back to harassing the local wildlife, just leaving that precious bracelet completely unprotected. It was such a fun journey. Honestly, I just wish it had lasted a little longer.
Okay, let's keep the conclusion brief. This game's cool as hell. I can't rate it as highly as I want to because objectively it has some issues, but they are minor. A couple of mechanics aren't utilised properly, a couple of events are too obscure, and the item variation is just pointless. But I still have no problems giving this game an 8 out of awesome. If you have any games that you would like me to look at yourselves, leave them in the comments, obviously, and I'll get around to them if I want to. If I don't, fuck yourself. Bye!